Okay, we're finally into the point now where we're learning how to use counters in Japanese. So counters are kind of a famous part of Japanese grammar, and people make a big deal. Oh, I need to learn counters, but it's actually really, really simple and really intuitive. So let's go through this. It's not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. How do we count things in English, first of all? So usually we just add a number to that thing, and then this plural ending s. So one computer, two computers, three computers, and so on. One cup, two cups, three cups. And we think that's easy. Um, but actually, English counting is not that easy. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So we can say one. Well, no, we can't even really say one bread. But we certainly can't say two breads, right? That doesn't work. We don't say one corn, two corns, or one information, two informations, one furniture, two furnitures, one advice, two advices. It does just it that doesn't work out all the time. There are things that we can count, and then there are things that we can't count. Now we can count them though if we use a counter. So if we say something like loaves of bread, or slices of bread, or pieces of bread, or for corn, we can say ears of corn, cobs of corn, kernels of corn, cups of corn, whatever it is of corn. If we use a counter of some sort, then we can make what otherwise wouldn't be countable countable. What's tough about English is you can use counters like pieces. So pieces is for information. You can have pieces of information, pieces of furniture, pieces of advice, pieces of bread, pieces of whatever. So there's no sort of meaning to the word pieces that's consistent across all of the things that it's used for. It's basically just default counter. We're just going to put it in there when we want to say how many of something there are, and we can't just say two informations. So that's English. Japanese, in comparison, is a lot simpler. Effectively, it's that everything needs a counter of some sort. So you can't really say two computers. Two computers in Japanese sounds just as bad as two breads. You can't say three students. You just can't go sangakusei. Sangakusei is bad. It sounds the same as, again, like three corns or whatever. So we say three people's worth of students, two machines worth of computers. Or we say nidai no computer, sannin no gakusei is how we actually say that. Um, so Japanese counters, unlike English counters like pieces or whatever, Japanese counters almost always refer to some sort of real world category. There's a reason why we count this with this. And most often that's either its shape or its function. So mai, the counter that we learned this chapter, is used for things that are generally look like this. So they have to be thin, they have to look kind of like sheets, and importantly, there has to be only one of them. So if you like bind together a whole bunch of sheets like a book, then that kind of bound thing, we say that's different. It needs to be just one sheet, or one each unit has to be only one sheet. Then it's mai. That sounds really kind of niche. Like that sounds like there's not a whole lot of things that are mai, but actually there's quite a bit. So for example, pizza. Pizza are thin sheets. So we count, this would be rokumai, rokumai. So pizza ga rokumai arimasu, or rokumai no pizza. T-shirts, shirts, a lot of clothing in general. When we fold it down, it looks like one sheet. So we say T-shirts ga, I don't even know how many this is, rokumai. Again, the roku. Uh, with video games or DVDs or anything that comes in this little box, a CD, for example. And even the boxes itself, like if they're long and thin enough, then we call them mai as well. Paper is obviously the stereotype for this, so this would be 750 mai, 750 mai. Anything that we can say the word sheets for in English is probably going to be mai, including, in fact, bed sheets themselves. Those are also mai. Tickets or stamps, or these are stamps here, but you could imagine like train tickets or a postcard or a letter or anything like that. Those are also going to be mai. So it's actually pretty broad, the things that mai covers. Mai is worth learning. There's two ways to say it. You can either, so let's say the sentence, I bought two tickets. So now you know that in Japanese you can't just say two tickets. That sounds like two corns. So you need, I bought two mai worth of tickets. That's what we're getting at with this counter. So nimai no kippu, nimai no kippu, 2 mai of tickets. That works out that's pretty direct. So nimai no kippu o kaimashita. That's the first way to say it. The other way to say it is to say, to use nimai instead of something like takusan. So I bought many tickets, kippu o takusan kaimashita. Well, we could say I bought a lot of tickets or I bought 2 mai tickets. And so kippu o 2 mai kaimashita. And this is actually probably the more common pattern in this particular case. So this is worth knowing. You can just put nimai as an adverb, basically, against this verb, right next to it. Or put nimai no kippu and modify the ticket, the thing that you're counting itself. So nimai no kippu o kaimashita, kippu o 2 mai kaimashita. Both of them are totally fine. If we have the sentence, there are 10 pizzas on the table, テーブルの上に10枚のピザがあります。Or ピザが10枚あります。The key is we don't say 10枚があります. There's no ga here. Right? Because what is on the table? Well, pizza's on the table. How many of them? 10 of them. So we don't say that there are 10, like that there's the number 10 on top of the table. That's not what we're counting. That's not what we're looking at. We're looking at pizza. There just happen to be 10 of them. So pizza ga 10枚あります or 10枚のピザがあります. Okay. What's the difference between those different expressions? Most of the time, both of them work. Most of the time, there's no difference between saying 10枚のピザがあります and ピザが10枚あります. They are both the same thing. You will hear both of them regularly. Sometimes, though, it does make a difference. So if we wanted to say, I met 2 students, we say 2人の. So 2人, unfortunately, this is kind of an irregular thing. A couple has its own little special thing. So we say 2人の学生に会いました. That works. That's totally fine. But saying 学生に2人会いました is a little bizarre. It just can't really be done. Two met students is a little bit odd of an expression, but I met 2 students or 2 people's worth of students is normal. So sometimes this will be the only possible option. I can't think of any times when this is the only possible option, but I bet that they exist somewhere in the world. Most counters, though, and for mai in particular, there will not be a situation where you couldn't say both of them. Okay, so the take-home message. Counters, like mai or nin, are ways that we can say how many of something there are. So it's this blank, that's the counter. Almost every noun in Japanese needs a counter of some kind. The only thing that doesn't really is en, like yen. We just say 10 en, 100 en. So there aren't many other examples of that. And now with counters, so in English we have all sorts of different counters. Like how often do you need to use the word cobs for anything other than corn? But in Japanese, there's basically, if you know about 8 or 9 of them, then you've basically learned all of the ones that you're going to hear on a regular basis. So there aren't that many to learn. It's not that intimidating. The way that we use them is either say counter no noun, 2枚 no pizza, or just the counter adverb, 2枚あります, 2枚買いました, and so on and so forth, directly with the verb and no particle in the middle. We don't usually add o, ni, or so on to counters. So 2枚 o or 2枚 ni, that's a little bizarre because what we eat, like if you think of this more abstractly, what we're eating is the bread, not the pieces. The pieces are just how we're counting bread, for example. Okay, that's a little bit abstract, but essentially you don't really need to, the take-home message is that you don't really add o or ni to the counter. You add o or ni to the noun. So 2枚 no pizza, 2枚あります. Okay, if you can remember that, then you're well on your way to being able to count essentially anything in Japanese. We'll learn 3 more counters the rest of the semester, and that will cover almost all of what you'll need.